I joined ICA in the first year of my doctoral program in 1969. I know. That's a long time ago.
My first meeting was in 1975.
I first joined ICA in 1977.
I joined ICA in 1979.
I first joined ICA sometime in the mid-1980s.
I think I joined ICA in 1985.
My first ICA was in 1986, and I felt like a kid in a candy shop.
1987.
1989.
1990.
1993.
1994.
1998.
In 1999.
I joined ICA in 2000.
2001.
2002.
2003.
2004.
2006.
2007.
2010.
2011. 2014.
2016.
2021.
Is this your first time at ICA?
Yes, it's my first time.
I cannot remember. It feels like I've been there forever.
So this year will be my 25th anniversary.
ICA has been my constant academic home for 45 years.
I've been a proud member for nearly 50 years.
Which means next year I will have been going to ICA for 50 years, which is astonishing.
I have attended all but one of those 54 conferences.
I was there 75 years ago. Don't look good for my age.
ICA began as a small group of scholars with large aspirations to develop and to advance the worldwide study of human communication.
NSSC, which is the organization that ICA evolved out of in 1969 when the name ICA was adopted. At that time, we had a lot of non-academic members from business and government and voluntary organizations, as well as teachers who were not interested in doing research.
Despite its lofty initial mission statement, NSSC started off as an organization almost entirely dedicated to the teaching of communication skills, speaking, writing, listening, and reading. It was an affiliate organization of the Speech Association of America, now the National Communication Association. NSSC was largely composed of and supported by members and leaders from outside academia. In particular, the United States Air Force and General Motors Company played a large role.
I said I thought we should be true to our mission, and even if it meant losing members and growing slowly, that I thought this was the appropriate direction for the association, and ultimately that's what it became.
When I entered ICA, it was the time that critical theory was really coming into its own, and many of the early scholars who laid that particular strand of the field down, like George Gerbner and Herbert Schiller and some of the old guard, they were still very much there and involved.
But even after it was renamed, it constantly struggled with having to deal with the fact that it was primarily based in the United States of America. The first actual international conference outside of the United States didn't go very far. It went to Montreal, Canada.
So when I joined, it was very American, so there weren't many Germans there. So I think we were like 5 people or so, and we were like exotic animals. Everybody was like, look, there's the Germans.
I was the student board member in 1980, and at that board meeting, we were deciding where the Pacific Rim Conference would be. In those days, ICA was an international site every 5 years. The decision was to have the conference in Honolulu, Hawaii. Well, as a student board member, I sort of explained that that's not international, that's US.
Internationalisation tended to be measured by North American delegates versus rest of the world. In Europe, Germany, the Netherlands, the Scandinavian countries have always been strongly represented. In Asia, Singapore, Hong Kong, China increasingly. Australia is one of those. But we're also aware that that means that some very important communications regions in the world are underrepresented. So India, Indonesia, the African countries, Latin America.
And then they said, we need a contact in Africa. Will you help us? I was like, yeah, I'm ready. So we started the process of bringing Africa on board.
One important initiative was the establishment of the REACH committee and the hosting of regional hub events.
There was this new initiative for regional chapters of ICA in 6 countries of the world, 5 of them in the global south.
Hubs are networks that enable communication scholars around the world in various areas that are not able to attend ICA in person via communication technology.
The initiatives of the chapter and the regional hub is a great initiative by ICA
to make it inclusive and to make it more accessible for scholars from Asia and Africa.
I've been personally part of the Cairo Hub, and I've seen other hubs' activities, and it's amazing.
As we speak today, there's a Kenya hub running, there is Nigeria hub running, and many other hubs outside Africa, but outside the global north.
Since its inception, ICA has sponsored 25 conferences beyond the annual conference in all parts of the world.
So I was president in 2021, so I will go down in the ICA history book as the COVID president. We basically went from having a regular conference to having the first virtual conference, and it was one of the first global associations that did it. I think it really triggered a lot of conversations about the future of ICA, about hybrid conferences, about using this as an opportunity to, be more inclusive and also have more global reach. So maybe in some odd way, ICA came out more as a community and also a little bit stronger.
ICA began to reimagine the ways in which we could engage with the world.
I think the founding fathers would be very proud to know of that extension of ICA around the world, where ICA has become a global organization with 7,000 members from more than 80 countries around the world.
My early impressions of ICA was that I was terrified.
I was trembling like a leaf, and I was really insecure, and it was like, welcome to the show.
I was petrified.
I was overwhelmed.
My first ICA was pretty overwhelming.
It was a little bit overwhelming.
It was so overwhelming.
My first impression was, oh my, this is so huge. Convention is huge, so many people, and I'm lost.
Where am I going to say it? Do I have the nerve to say something? Will I ask a question?
ICA is big. It's intimidating.
I felt so small.
Then, I don't know, there's some kind of magic at those conferences where people actually give you a sense that you're welcome, that it's okay, that you'll be fine. And then very quickly, it became very stimulating, much more than intimidating.
My first ICA, I was just really amazed as a graduate student to see so many of the scholars that I had been reading about in my classes, to meet them in person. It was a celebrity moment.
I was making a presentation on the theory of communicative action, and Jürgen Habermas walks into the room, sits in the front row. So I'm trying to explain to him his theory in 5 minutes.
The first person that really blew my mind was Michael Griffin. He was at my very first ICA presentation. So I was like, oh my God, like I'm meeting a rock star.
I remember that riding the elevator with Dennis McQuail and like running in the hall with Doris Graber.
He was no Chomsky.
A lot of the big names in the field I met personally at ICA. Seeing like George Gerbner and Stuart Hall talking to each other.
I remember meeting Wilbur Schramm, Elihu Katz.
One panel, I happened to be sitting next to Elihu Katz.
The Elihu Katz, and there he was, and I was so surprised that someone of his stature would not just attend sessions as any other regular participant, but actually that he would be so interested in the research that had been presented that he was asking questions.
I have this vivid memory of doing a paper presentation and then going out to the pool and talking with Ted Zorn about my paper as we were swimming, and it was hilarious and awesome.
That was my first time in DC, and after visiting the Lincoln Memorial and seeing many tall statues in the city, I had expectations to encounter real intellectual giants of similar height. I got seriously disappointed when I found out some of my intellectual giants were actually shorter than me.
And I was just in awe of these great scholars and that they would talk to me, a young scholar, and introduce me to other scholars in their network.
I think that my impression from the very beginning was that there were people who were going to help graduate students, people who were going to help early career scholars, and that really convinced me that I want to be part of this and to give back in some ways.
I stayed in sessions from morning till night.
So I was like running from 15 minutes from one session, 15 minutes to another session, 15 minutes to this other paper.
People were very kind. People stopped me and asked me if it was my first conference. I guess they could tell.
I can introduce myself to many amazing people, many professors. I am very fascinated that most of them remember me.
I wasn't sure about academia when I first went to grad school, but after my first ICA, I was sold.
I have a really distinct memory of my first ICA reception. People started looking at me a little funny, and I was wondering why they were looking at me strangely. And some of them, I mean, everybody was really nice. They would come up to me, and because I had a new member sticker on, and they would say, "Wow, that's really nice. Hi, welcome to your first ICA." And they kept bending their heads. And I looked down and realized that I had my name tag upside down and my new member sticker upside down. And people were too nice to tell me what I was doing.
20 years later, I can't turn a corner without seeing someone I know.
And today, ICA is my extended family.
And it doesn't seem so overwhelming anymore.
So I'm really proud of where ICA has come in the last 25, 30 years.
Oh, it has changed. It has changed for the better, I would say.
It's not the organization, the association that it was when I started coming in the late 80s, early 90s.
So when I first came, it wasn't very international at all, really. It was mostly American, and the international participation was very limited.
In the beginning, it was very American, very empirical, very, one way of looking at things.
So this is ICA, International Communication Association. Where are the Africans?
In fact, that was an ongoing discussion and concern. How do we bring more international people into ICA?
That the questions we ask and the issues that we deal with are not as US-centric or Western Europe-centric as they have been over the last several decades.
We all have our biases or narrow lens. It's just the way we operate, and that's why you need a diverse association. It helps us to know what we don't know.
Really growing in terms of being more inclusive of members from all around the world and just really embracing the international Communication Association.
To diversify the discipline both epistemically but also geographically.
Especially in regions of the world where historically ICA has been underrepresented.
You look at now, for example, the list of fellows, which used to be a crowd that was very American-oriented, and now you see people from all sorts of walks of life. And there's always more to be done in that sense, but I would say that, to me, is one of the big changes I've seen.
See people from Indonesia, from Malaysia, from China, from Africa, where I come from. It's so diverse and it's so beautiful.
I think that diversifying the cities where the conference is hosted is a very good idea, because it's way researchers from other countries, especially from the Global South, can attend.
I do find that there's been so much more opportunities to travel and to be able to visit each other's countries over the different ICAs that we've attended.
We now have more conferences outside North America, I think, than inside it. I think that is huge. It's an organization that is working really hard, really seriously to become truly global.
So I see the effort from the organization to try to be inclusive of people of color and LGBTQ people and so forth. I really appreciate the space that ICA is creating.
Disability topic is an overlooked topic in terms of media and communications research. My supervisor pulled a panel on disability and he recommended me to present.
A notion of inclusion, diversity and justice that resonates with people who live in Indonesia, with communities in the Middle East, with people in Australia and in Africa.
And it really shows how much ICA has grown internationally and how committed the organization has become to diversity and inclusion.
ICA is making a conscious effort to be inclusive of scholars coming from Tier B and Tier C cities around the world and the Global South, and making more travel grants available, making more registration waivers available.
These kind of travel grants, it makes the impossible travel plans possible.
I'm a beneficiary of a fund or a scholarship for this conference. They have packages or support system for students and those coming from underprivileged communities or countries. And I think it's something that is very helpful.
When you have accessibility issues, reasons such as their universities won't fund them. How will you network if you cannot come to a place like ICA and, talk to people?
And to try to provide them with the points of connection and resources to be able to lift them up and to be engaged community members in the association. More people in more parts of the rest of the world are doing good work and presenting it here at ICA, and that's all the better for the field.
There's been a concerted push by a number of the leaders with a lot of help from the members, and it is a wonderful thing.
Now you see the different colors, the different people, the different professionalisms coming on in ICA. This is the ICA that I envisioned, and this is the ICA for me where when the I speaks of internationalization, we made it happen.
I think one of the great improvements has been the growth in the richness and sophistication and the coverage and the reach of the work that ICA does.
The quality of the research is really good. It's really competitive. I had this guy from a large West Coast university who was elected Fellow of the American Academy, and he got the paper rejected the year that he was elected a Fellow. And I told him that, hey, we got standards, right? So
It's changed in the sense of becoming bigger, more sophisticated, more diverse in the different intellectual approaches.
In terms of methods, theories, approaches, topics, and that's fascinating because communication is not a still phenomenon. It's a growing discipline, and you can actually see that growth in ICA.
The familiar system of divisions for dividing up ICA was developed shortly before the name change. The first 4 divisions were information systems, interpersonal communication, mass communication, and organizational communication.
There were a lot fewer divisions when I joined. In fact, one of the nice things about ICA that I've seen change over the years, that there's been a proliferation of specialties within the field that has led to interest groups and divisions.
How it has a place for every communication scholar to research what they wanted to do and what they are interested in. And I like that because, of course, there are the bigger traditional interest groups and divisions, but there's also a place for the smaller niche topics as well. And this is, I think, what makes ICA so special, that it's not a one research agenda, but really multiple ones.
It's exciting, just the number of divisions that now we have. There's just space for pretty much anyone working in the field of communication.
It's become a lot more inclusive and especially more embracing of graduate students. I think the chairs of divisions have done a great job.
I think that it was really intimidating for me when I just started, but now I see, for instance, options for work in progress or research escalators.
I believe it has one of the largest communities of young researchers, and this really makes it so easy for us to make new friends and to feel like you really belong.
They've also come in to mentor us in research and writing, and I've had the privilege to have some of the greatest minds in communication studies as not just mentors but also as friends.
Students, they are the future of higher education, and they are coming with great ideas and opening up some spaces for them to express their interests is a very important thing to do.
The organizational communication division unit often does these pre-conferences, and to be involved as a graduate student or a junior scholar has really helped skyrocket my career, as well as being able to give back and provide some input and advice over the years to graduate students and early career scholars in those ways.
I was responsible for the graduate student pre-conference in Polcom, and we had a submission from Tehran, and the student could not attend because of visa issues, so we had them present via Skype. He was so grateful for the feedback he received, and that was really a meaningful moment. And I remember thinking that yes, maybe ICA can break boundaries and research can indeed connect people.
They've also been developing excellent journals with strong impact factors.
We now have journals that are associated and affiliated with ICA from Germany, from France, from China, and from Chile.
ICA has better food at its receptions, and that's always tremendous because I think we've learned no matter how old you are or how established you are in your field, you will show up for free food and drinks.
And ICA folks are very friendly, especially if they have a glass of wine in their hand.
I think that we've only gotten better. I think that all the growth, all the expansion, all the kind of increased compassion, right, for different aspects of who we are as a community has only made us better. We've still got loads to go. The journey is never over, but there's no question that ICA from year to year becomes ever more interesting.
I think the future holds lots of dynamics that we can't even imagine.
I think the future for ICA is really bright.
The future is going to be turbulent.
I think the future is really bright.
I mean, I hate to be macabre, but at this point in time, we're kind of in trouble as a discipline.
The future is quite uncertain.
The future of ICA is interesting.
The future looks bright. Looks very, very bright. That's my optimistic feeling about it.
There has never been a more important time than now to think about and study and practice meaningful communication.
I think so many of our world's problems actually can be helped and ameliorated through communication research and communication science.
But we're coming into a post-truth future where there is no reality and everything is subjective. I think scholars are going to be demonized worldwide increasingly, and I think ICA is going to be sort of the Rock of Gibraltar in a very stormy, turbulent sea.
We are under attack in every continent around the world, attacks that are escalating, that are intensifying. I think it's really important for ICA looking forward to figure out how, as an institution, as an organization, we can help the discipline. I think we've got it in our hearts and our guts to do that. We just have to figure out the way in which to make it happen.
And I think ICA has been very good at basically understanding what are the trends and what are the needs and how do we meet the moment.
There is a backlash against sciences, and that has to do because the kind of work that we do matters. This work is important, and that's why people are attacking it. And we need to resist, that's the thing. And it's going to be risky and it's going to be more challenging, but it's important that we continue doing this kind of work. And we do have a community, we have that support, and we should stand together to defend the kind of work that we're doing because it does matter. It has an impact and we have to keep on working.
The political context in many countries, I think it's creating challenges for the research, the value of the work we do, funding, for example. It has always been an issue, but I think now it's going to be more of an issue.
Issues of misinformation, disinformation, framing, truth, all of those things. And it involves complicated conversations, complicated intellectual work. And ICA is the sort of place where that happens.
You know, the pandemic actually has shown us how important communication is. You know, also on disinformation, because we realized there's a lot of stuff out there that sounds a bit strange, and we started doing research on that. And I think that work is important, that you actually can show people, you know, what's going on, that they get that knowledge. Otherwise, we would be lost. You know, you would just believe these lies that are out there.
I think one of the ways ICA is going to be increasingly influential is thinking about how we translate science for audiences to enact positive social change.
COVID, I think, is a perfect example of the need to consider real-world public challenges in developing our science and developing our practice.
In our discipline, since we're researching media and communication, we often tend to follow technology because the technological advancements are so quick. This makes it vibrant and alive, unlike maybe geology, where the object of study is sort of stagnant for decades and hundreds and thousands of years. Our object of study is alive and it moves and it keeps shifting, and this brings challenges with it. As soon as you start to understand dynamics of something, the patterns quickly change.
Many of us cannot teach the same syllabus, the same readings every semester, every academic year, because things are changing so quickly. And sometimes you look back at a syllabus from 5 years ago, 3 years ago, it's like you cannot do that anymore. I mean, you can, but you know, it's not right because it's not addressing all this sort of constantly changing, very dynamic. And it's not just the technologies, everything around there, you know, what's happening in society, in politics and culture. And especially if you take, you know, a broader global perspective, then you have to be sensitive to all these kind of things.
And amid the current polarized environments we live in, the current global conflicts and rise of so many faces of injustice and exclusion, I think ICA has a huge potential role, but also an ethical responsibility to have a voice and advance research that studies exactly those socially relevant topics from a critical perspective.
Oh yeah, I think the ICA actually plays a really, really important role. I think you can see what's happening in the world is divided. How can we make the world a better place so people understand each other a little bit better? How can we reduce, if not eliminate, racism, We bring together the best researchers on the planet. I mean, I think we really have a critical role.
Because I think everyone in their own setting is dealing with, say, misinformation. They're dealing with hate speech, dealing with racism, dealing with disabled in the complexity of those issues. And I think one of the beauties of the association is bringing people together, and particularly the young emerging scholars, to work in those areas.
And it's very exciting to see more and more scholars coming together and sharing our stories and sharing our challenges, sharing our commonalities in order for us to work together and learn more about the human condition, telling different stories, telling underrepresented stories.
A lot of people are recognizing that communication is the way to solve some of the wicked problems facing society. It is the creativity of communication scholars that are bringing new ideas and new approaches to how we solve those problems.
So many of our issues, they're not just political issues, they're communication issues, and how difficult it is to speak across political and other boundaries. So I think there's a great future for ICA to attend to some of these issues.
We're at a point in world history where there are a lot of uncertainties, right? And whether that is the geopolitical climate of the world, or the funding for higher education, or the way that we think about large conferences in the light of climate and carbon footprint and these kind of things.
I think the association is on the cusp of imagining new ways of people coming together and even having a conference. I think that what we call an academic conference is going to be very, very different 20 years down the line, and I want ICA to be very much at the forefront of that.
We're part of the forefront of thinking about what it means to communicate in the 21st century at a local level, at a community level, at a national level, at an international level, at a galactic level, with so much satellite communication going on.
With the change in communication systems and the rise of artificial intelligence, communication questions are more central to all aspects of life, and that speaks well to the future value of our work.
The reason why ICA exists is because it has been the center of gravity for what at the time was an emerging field of communication. And since then, a lot has changed in the world, a lot has changed in our discipline, and a lot has changed in our community. One of the enduring facts about our community is that people join ICA because of the scholarship. They stay in ICA because of the community.
It is, after all, the Lollapalooza of communication research.
ICA is wonderful. It's really my scientific home, and I'm thankful.
I feel like it's a privilege to continue to be part of ICA.
I still wear my Dresden 2006 ICA t-shirt.
My career would have never been what it is without ICA.
I can't explain all of the different ways that ICA has supported me, and I found many lifetime friends and colleagues through the organization.
I cannot imagine my career without ICA in so many different ways.
I think being an academic can be quite a lonely endeavor, but when I attend the ICA, I meet people who share the same goal of helping people better understand the world through our research.
I really enjoy this kind of solidarity in academic research and community.
You know, there's a sense of community that the more you participate, the more you feel you're part of.
It's watching the convention turn from my reference list into people that I know. And suddenly it's, I know them, I know their family, we've stayed at their house, we visited.
Not just see people's scholarship mature, but meeting people's children, both their academic children and their real children and others over time.
ICA is a place where I've made the dearest and most wonderful friends that I could ever imagine.
ICA's family.
I do want to thank the ICA organization, the boards, the past presidents, and all the wonderful participants for making ICA what it is today.
Shout out to all of the former presidents who have been at the forefront in leading ICA. As members, we appreciate you, we appreciate your shared vision, and we thank you for your service.
Well, I love ICA staff
who have just done a wonderful job of keeping the organization moving forward and building as the organization membership grew and diversified and became more international.
The headquarters team truly deserves a huge thank you. The support, dedication, and also their behind-the-scenes work keep the ICA running smoothly.
I think they are like the true heroes behind every great experience we have.
Honestly, I do not know how they do it. They respond to questions and requests so fast, it's almost like they never sleep.
Laura in particular, she has been incredibly supportive. She truly champions diversity and inclusion at every level.
So I just want to say that Laura's arrival, I think, has been a fantastic contribution to ICA, and I hope that you will be with us until we celebrate the 100.
It really is such an amazing community to be a part of.
It's just wonderful how one conference can lead to so many friendships, to unforgettable memories, and to academic success while having fun.
This is a really wonderful, well-knit community of individuals who have very diverse viewpoints, very different priorities, and yet they all understand that there is something common, a common bond that ties us all together. And that is our passion and commitment to understanding and enabling a better society tomorrow by our scholarship in the area of communication.
Congratulations, ICA.
Congratulations, ICA.
Happy 75th anniversary, ICA.
Badhayan ICA.
Herzlichen Glückwunsch zum Geburtstag, ICA.
ICA のお誕生日75周年目おめでとうございます。
Hongera sana ICA kwa miaka 75. Hongera.
Voilà. Tillykke ICA 75, det er flot.
Joyeux anniversaire. Félicitations.
Pour son 75e anniversaire.
恭喜 ICA को उनकी 75वीं सालगिरह पर बहुत दिली मुबारकबाद पेश करना चाहती हूँ।
ICA Ekelonu.
Mazal Tov ICA.
Tantissimi auguri dalla Svizzera per il 75esimo anniversario.
Feliz aniversario ICA.
Felicitaciones para todos los miembros.
Felicitaciones ICA.
Y que tengas muchos años más de vida.
Hardik Badhai ICA.
국제 커뮤니케이션 학회의 75번째 생일을 진심으로 축하합니다.
in a Ghanaian language. Aiko.
Alf Mabruk ICA.
Congratulations to ICA.
Congratulations, ICA.
Happy 75th ICA.
We are proud to be part of it.
I'm delighted that you made it to 75, and I hope you make it to 750.
Congratulations to ICA.
Congratulations, ICA.
Happy 75th anniversary, ICA.
Happy 75th anniversary, ICA.
Happy 75th anniversary, ICA.
Congratulations, ICA. We have been together for 30 years. We met in Albuquerque in 1995, and I would be nothing without you.
Can't wait until the next conference. It's going to be awesome.